we are live. Okay. I'm a hot mess today. Bear
No,
with
you
me, y'all.
good.
So, what's up, everyone? This is your host, Stefany Sweet, and you are tuned in to the GrownupIsh Podcast. Welcome, welcome, and welcome. And I have my
Hey,
girl, Nia, again. Yes. This is like becoming a thing.
it is. It is a thing.
It is
I'm
a
back.
thing.
I'm back. Welcome, everyone. We are excited to have you guys here with us today.
Yeah. Yeah. So, as usual, how was your week?
My week was actually really good. It was really busy, which is becoming a norm for me, but I set goals and I killed them. So I'm very proud of myself. How was your week?
Excellent. Excellent. Look at you
Good.
checking off your
I'm trying.
list.
I'm
Good
trying. I'm
job.
trying.
That's the road to success right there when you start checking off the list.
Listen, now I'm just like, all right, we're gonna do it again next week. And if I just keep doing it, eventually I won't have anything on my list and I'll just be flowing. So that's where I'm
Small
at with it.
steps. Small
Exactly. How
steps
was your
towards that
week?
bigger picture. That's how you go. That's how you're supposed to do it. That's how it goes. Yeah, my week was pretty steady, nothing crazy. I tried a new restaurant. It was a Colombian joint. I loved
How was
it,
that?
okay?
Okay.
It was really, really good. Me and my fatty booty. No, darn well I shouldn't be eating the amount of carbs that I've been consuming, but it's okay.
Listen, you just indulge a little
February,
bit.
February, we're gonna start.
Good to go.
I said we're gonna start fresh. We're gonna clean it up, and I'm gonna start working on my goal to gather my gather my waist. Okay,
Okay.
but yeah,
Gather
that's
it.
that's the plan.
Mhm.
That's
New
the
month,
that's
right
the
around the
plan for
corner.
February. Yeah, I
Right around the
know.
corner.
The month just went by so freaking fast,
It
and
did.
January's gone already. If y'all are not up on y'all game and staying focused on your goals, the year will be up. You still
It
gonna
will.
feel
That's the
it.
crazy part about it. It's like you really got to hit the ground running because before you know it, it's done. And part of me is like
Absolutely.
excited because I'm like, "Ooh, if there's stuff I'm looking forward to." But the other part of me is like, "Yo, slow down,
Right.
slow
You're moving way
down."
too quick. Simmer
Exactly.
down. Simmer down time. Anyways, let's get into the topic of today.
Hmm.
So my question to you and everybody who's gonna be listening is have you ever found yourself like having a conversation with somebody and telling them something and they just are not grasping what you're trying to say? They just
Yes,
like,
yes,
and you're speaking in English. You're talking, the words that are the same words that are coming out of my mouth right now. But it's like for whatever reason they are just not able to comprehend your what you're trying to say. That's happened to me so many times. It's happened to me in my household, like growing up at home, with my romantic relationships, at work.
yeah.
It's
It's every day I teach, so I'm
it's a
like, "Do you guys
constant for
understand what
you.
I'm saying?" And it's like, yeah. And I'm looking at their faces. I'm like, "No, you don't. You don't. It's okay. It's okay. I lost you. Let's run it back. Let's run it back. It's okay."
Right, right. I can imagine it's like a everyday occurrence, obviously, for you being a teacher. You're just like,
Yeah.
okay, not if you
That's
understand.
it. I'm trying to teach them to let me know if they don't understand. So we're getting there. We're making progress, even though the school year's almost over. But we're finally getting to a nice, comfortable place in our relationship as teacher and student, where they're like, "Yep, you're gonna have to rephrase that, reframe it. Yeah,
Right, right,
different examples.
right.
Just you gonna have to try it again because we didn't get it."
Exactly. And
So
guys, if you haven't guessed it, I mean, today we're going to be talking about communication, okay? And we're going to give you some tips on how to better communicate, because being able to understand your partner, friend, and peers plays such a vital role, right? And part of maintaining a good relationship with
yeah,
them. So it's crazy still how we all somehow struggle with communicating well and being able to convey how we feel to people and just express ourselves, and the other person really grasping what it is that we're
that's
trying
it.
to say. So
That's it.
yeah, yeah, that's it's been an ongoing thing, an ongoing problem. Like I said, I've been in situations where, I'm talking, I'll be having a conversation with my significant other, and we're having like a conversation. I don't like to call them arguments. I
Yes.
like to call them conversations,
Yeah, nice
spirited
conversation.
conversations.
Sometimes a discussion. I like to use the word discussion. Like we need to have a
Right.
discussion,
We're ha-
an exchange of information back and forth. A
exchange of
discussion.
information, and it's like, I'll be telling the person like XYZ, and it just won't, it's hard for them to
Hmm.
understand where I'm coming from. And I find that it's because people tend to listen to
Respond.
respond.
Hmm.
They want to listen, and they want to just, I mean, they hear you, but they're not really
They just want
listening.
to. They're really just ready to say what they want to say about the situation. They're not trying to
Right.
hear anything you're saying, but
And
they're
that's
like, "Okay,
that's
continue." Hmm.
right. And like, where are we going to go with that? Now I'm getting
That's it.
frustrated because you're not listening to me.
That's it.
That's
And
not
that
going to
being
work.
quiet is not listening. That's the thing. Because the minute you say you're not listening to me, I am listening to you. I'm not saying anything. You're not saying anything, but your mind is going a mile a minute right now. Your mind is just running. So you don't have to say anything because you're not listening. I can tell. I know you're not listening.
Right. And your mind is going 100 miles a minute because you're trying to find the loopholes in the things that I'm trying to tell you, as opposed to
That's the
paying
word.
attention to the words that I'm coming out of my mouth, so you could really grasp and hear me and feel where I'm coming from.
Mhm. And I love that we're talking about listening first because I think that oftentimes we feel that communication is just the component of talking. Like talking is just the main part of communicating.
Right,
But
right.
talking is not the foundation of communicating properly. You also have to be an effective listener. If you're not
Listener.
an effective listener, your communication is just not going to work. And that's, I feel like, one of the gaps that's often missed when people are talking about, especially in relationships, communicating. We're always talking about how you talk, and that is great. And there are certain things that you need to do when you're talking,
Right.
but both parties also have to be open to listening. And like you said, genuinely listening to get understanding, not for
Yeah.
a response. When you're listening for a
Right.
response, you're not listening. But
That's
if
a
you're
very
listening
good
to
point, cuz some
understand,
people are,
you're gonna
yeah, it's
take
not,
in what the person's saying.
yeah, people be like, "Oh, you're not articulating yourself well, and you're not communicating well, and you're not." Yes, sure. There's an element of it that, you need to know how to use your words and make
Mhm,
sure that you are stating what it is that you're feeling in a very understandable way, right?
mhm.
Graspable, dissectable way. But a thing that people will like do is like, okay, I'm telling you, I don't like it when you don't tell me that you're going somewhere, and you just end up in this place, and you're not communicating to me that you're going, and I'm expecting you to be at place A and you're at place
Mhm.
B. Like, that is so frustrating. What do you mean it's frustrating? It's like, it's annoying because you're not telling me what you but what do you mean by annoying if I just went somewhere? Now you're asking these questions, right? You're
Mhm.
getting me aggravated. I'm trying to tell you. And you're giving me a feeling that I don't like, because I'm thinking you're going to be somewhere. You're not at that place. I'm just giving you
Yep.
an example. And like, why can't you just take that for what it is, right?
That's
So,
it.
yeah. So again, communicating, me being able to tell you how I feel, sure, but actively listening and being able to hear what I'm saying, as opposed to just like, well, why? And what do you mean? And like, just ready to ask
Yeah.
these
And
questions,
ideally,
is just like,
I
take it in,
ideally,
take
it's
in what
like,
I'm
yeah,
saying.
that's what I was gonna say. Ideally, in a situation like that, because I feel like that's really common, especially in relationships, especially when dating, is that when somebody when the your partner tells you they don't like something, some people naturally get into the defense.
Defense,
And
right?
when you get into the defense, you're not listening anymore. Instead of
Mm-hmm.
getting into defense, the healthy thing and the most effective thing to do is going to be, okay, you stated to me that you don't like when I don't let you know where I'm moving from X to Z or Y to Z. Okay. You don't like when I'm moving around and you're not letting me know that. Well, first off, if that's an issue with the other person, so if you're telling me that and that's an issue with me, well, now maybe we need to have a discussion about why I don't tell you where I'm going. Is it something
Yeah.
I feel you don't need to know? What
Right.
is the issue that I'm having with you
Right.
or I'm having with
On my
telling you
end,
that?
is it a trust factor? Am I
Exactly. So
feeling
let's
like this
talk
because
about
I'm not trusting? Right. You got to get
exactly
to the
and that
bottom of it.
let's have a discussion about it because it's one thing to just be like listening but not actually talking about why you feel that way because maybe for me, yes, I'm on the defense because maybe I feel like, yo, why do I need to let you know that? Instead of
Yeah.
usually what some people do, instead of having these uncomfortable conversations, because
Right.
oftentimes communicating is uncomfortable. Oftentimes
Yes.
having these discussions gets uncomfortable and we would rather avoid the discomfort. So instead of avoiding it, the other person should say something. Hey, I don't tell you because I didn't feel like I needed to.
Yeah.
Why do you want me to tell you? Do you think I'm doing something?
Right.
If you
There's
do
so
think
many
I'm doing
layers
something,
to
let's talk
this.
about it. Exactly. There's so many layers to it. So then at that point, okay, let's get into it. And then that's something you could think about. Okay, yes. Or let's say hypothetically it is like a trust issue. Yes, I've been in a relationship where, the person would kind of tell me they were here, but they were really there. And
And
then
it
I'll
wasn't
find
what
out
it was supposed to be, and I
and it
don't like it.
yeah, and it made me feel stupid and I don't like it. And it's not that I don't trust you. It's just like I've been in an effed up situation before and I
Right.
just would like you to give me some reassurance that you're not on that because I am trying to genuinely trust you and I do want to genuinely trust you, but I want you to know that, that does bother me. So just be straight up with me, like about, if you
Yeah.
tell
Honesty
me
is
that you're
always key. Honesty is always
here,
key.
please be there, or
Right.
and if you're not gonna if you're the thing is I would say, and even then the next thing would be like, okay, and if you're not going to let me know where you're at, then just be straight up about that. Just be straight up about that and let me move accordingly in that,
No.
because sometimes I feel like people are just kind of brush you off when you're saying how you feel instead of having a deep
Yeah.
discussion about it, knowing that they don't like it either. Like, say that's something I don't want to do.
Right.
And then we need to figure it out because maybe this
Right.
is not going to be a good match for us.
Right. Right. And you touched on a few things that I feel like we need to elaborate on more. One
Mm-hmm.
is the feeling of not needing to explain themselves, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a huge indicator. Like, why do you want to go there? I guess I was saying that there are layers to it because you really have to know who it is that you're talking to, right? You have
Yep.
to know, one, who's this person that you're talking to? What is the relationship that you have? And how do you want to proceed? Like, is this somebody that's, because if it's just like, obviously,
Y'all just messing around. Y'all just kicking
right,
it.
a
Ain't
Joe
nothing deep. Ain't
Schmo, and
nothing
it's not
serious.
that important, then you can move forward. We're
Exactly.
talking about if it's somebody like that you don't care about, it doesn't have to go any further. You could just be like, all right, whatever. You can brush them off.
Hey,
But when
we ain't on
it's
that level, and I'm not telling you where I'm
right,
at.
right, it's not even that serious,
If
bruh.
I'm not gonna tell you, and that's gonna be a problem, I think we should just move forward now.
Exactly. But if you're having a conversation with somebody you care about, you need to move with caution and you need to tread lightly and watch what you say, so that you're not obviously causing no offense to that person, right? So, like, okay, how would you uh tell somebody that, hey, we need to have, like you said, you like to say, discussions? How I feel like that sets it up for, like, now you're gonna be on edge, like, oh,
I
we
mean,
need to have a discussion.
either way it go. If you tell somebody you need to have a talk, we need to
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
They're gonna feel like what we need to talk about, which it's crazy because this is the thing. I know it's normal to have that type feeling, which I definitely have if somebody tells me we need to talk. I don't know
Yeah.
why. Why does that give us anxiety?
Automatically,
I
because
don't
it's like,
know.
oh shit, what did I do? But wait, I thought we were cool. What
Yeah.
happened? What could it be? All
So
these
I
things, all these
mean,
questions run through my mind.
either way it go, it's gonna be anxiety reducing. So now if that's what so if
Anxiety
I'm
inducing,
dating,
yeah.
exactly. If I'm dating, I'm just gonna say it. Like, I mean, I did it today. Hey, give me a call. Make sure you call me. I actually have something that I want to talk about. Like, I
That
don't know
would
what
just
else
give
to
me anxiety,
say.
yes, off the top.
It's either that or you just straight up throw it at them. And I've done that
Yes.
too. Like I've
That's
straight up just got on
that's
the
my
phone and we're
go-to.
talking and I'm just gonna boop, drop it at you. So I was thinking
Right.
about
That's me.
those are two options. I'm either gonna tell you or I'm just gonna throw it at you. I like to let you see, and this is the reason why I just text and say, hey, I got something I want to talk about. Because sometimes I be feeling like I be catching people off guard when I just
That's
start.
okay. That's fine with
So
me. I
I'm
like
trying
it.
to listen. I'm trying to give the man time to process so he knows when he
Get your
calls,
get your
get
mind
your mind
right.
right.
You
Just
know what
start
time it
thinking,
is
what
when you
I want to
call.
talk about? What is it? So you know, hey. And
See,
then
because
sometimes
sometimes I
if we're
say, "Oh, we need to." Sometimes I say we need to talk, and it'll be like, "Oh, we need to talk about, you know, uh, who's gonna take the cars to go get washed this weekend because I don't want to do it."
and
It
that's
could
the
be like
thing.
it
We
could
need
be
to
like
talk
a
to
random
anything.
thing.
It could be something small. It could be
Right.
something big. It could be something not even related to us.
Right. I'll be
So
like, yo,
I,
you need to
I,
call
I think
me.
I want to keep doing that because then you never know. You might be on
Right.
edge. You might. We need
See,
to
that's why
talk
I
because
just
I
be
want to
throwing
cook.
it.
What you want to eat?
I just put it out. So that's your tactic. You just wanna you'll text, you give them a heads up, you'll be like, hey, we need to talk,
Yep.
we need to have a
Or I just throw it at them.
discussion.
Yep.
Yeah, nah.
Or I just be on the
So what I
phone and
do, yeah, what I do is and then it obviously depends on who it is, like I said. But what I do is I'll just be like having a conversation and then I'll just get into it. Like, so,
mm-hmm.
I really didn't appreciate you not doing the laundry. I've been doing the laundry for the past 3 weeks. You just keep leaving, having the bag just accumulate. Whatever it is, like I'm just
Yep.
making an example, right? But whatever it is, I'll just get into it.
Yep. I like
And I'm
that
gonna
too. I do that too.
sucker
And I
punch you
prefer
with it
I
with
prefer
the
to
issue.
talk in person, preferably if we're having a discussion that I know is going to be maybe a little heavy, or I just prefer to talk in person. Period. I just prefer
Yes.
person talking. I like to know your energy. I personally, I'm texting is
I
my
want
least
to
favorite
see
option.
you. And then you
Yeah.
can't run away. Well, I guess you could, but like okay, let me take a step back because this is huge, right? And the in person versus over the phone versus via text. Don't be doing nothing via text,
I
okay? That's
hate
what you definitely should not be
texting.
having no
I
type of discussion
hate
via text.
texting. I hate texting. I'm one of those people. I know most people like don't call text. No, don't text me. Call me. Just call me.
Right.
I don't like texting anymore. I don't know when this happened. I prefer
You
talking
see,
on
I'm with
the
the
phone.
voice messages, right?
Yes,
That's my
voice
thing.
message me because this is the thing. Especially okay, especially dating.
Right.
Depending on my energy at that moment, depending on what energy we kind of got going between us, depending on how my mood is, you might text me playing, and I'm in the funk, and I'm like, what,
You're having a serious conversation.
what,
Right.
or
Right.
text messages are hard to read.
I've
I
always
don't
said
like
this
texting. I
across the
don't like it.
board. Yeah, I've always said this across the board. Text messages are literally for like,
Quick,
quick
hey,
things.
running to the store, just want to let you know
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Hey,
Or
like
something
that's
you
the
need to
most me and my
know.
cousins text. Hey, I'm gonna be there in 5 minutes. Texting is not for like actual conversation, in my
Conversations,
opinion.
right? No,
Like,
that's not what texting is for. You text back and forth to, like it's chitter chat. It's literally chitter chatter. Cause
mhm.
why? You don't hear the person's tone. You don't know when they're playing or when they're serious. Like you just said, you could be in a funk. The other person is kikiing, thinking you cracking jokes with them. Meanwhile, you dead ass serious, having a
Like,
whole serious
yo,
conversation by yourself.
by yourself.
By
You on
yourself.
10 all alone. You all alone
Oh,
over there on 10.
in a
And
funk.
this person just feeding into it too. Hi.
Right, because they think you're on the same level. They put in the emojis help, right? Because
Listen,
obviously then you can see
emojis do
like
help.
Kiki,
I mean, emojis.
the smiley face. Emojis definitely help help you gauge the tone of the person,
But it
if they're
definitely be
playing
some
or
read the
not.
room moments. Read the
Yeah.
room. You can't read it. You don't know. You don't hear
Can't.
me. You don't hear my
You
voice. You
can't.
don't hear,
And what if
that,
the person doesn't like to use emojis? Then what? You screwed.
they done
You
text something
screwed.
crazy. It wasn't no LOL haha behind it.
Right. Like now I'm thinking you dead ass serious. Meanwhile, it's supposed to be a joke. Like definitely don't text any type of serious statements and without a
Mhm.
follow-up call. I really think that important conversations should be had in person, or even over the phone. To a certain degree you can do it, but then
Mhm.
and you can't see the person's facial
Face
expressions, but I'll
to
rock with
face.
the phone because you can at least hear their tone, and you can understand where when they're getting more upset,
Yes.
if you're actively listening, and when they are
Mhm.
just chill, like they're
Mhm.
okay. You can still keep on going with the conversation and it's fine. Yeah, like I definitely, I'm a I'm gonna tell you what it is. I like to do it by face, and we'll be sitting there having a conversation. So I'm gonna be like, all right, so about last week, I really was not feeling what happened. That was not cool.
Mhm.
It's been on my mind. And I just hit him with it. Like, bam, bam.
Which
Surprise.
which is not bad. And then again, I just want to go back and say, when people do that, the person they're doing it to has to be open to receiving and listening,
Yeah.
because I've done that, and I'm like, I think that there's no wrong way personally to start communication, because you can do it both ways.
Yeah.
You can just pop it out, or you can let the person kind of prep and know it's coming. I don't think either one of those ways are wrong. Because they can both give you the same result if the person's not listening.
Either
So
way, right? Mm-hmm.
give you the
And you
same
need to
result.
know who you're talking to. Like, I mean, these pointers, they can be used across the board, be in a romantic relationship or outside of a romantic relationship. But
Mhm.
like, if you're at work, for example, when I was at work, I would definitely make sure that I've had other conversations that would give the
Lead up to that
that
conversation.
exactly that led
Yes.
up to a situation where now I have to call you into an office and I have to tell you that
Mhm.
you're messing up, or I have to
Absolutely.
address something with you.
Yeah,
And
especially
even still
when I was
people
in
be talking
management.
attitudes,
Yeah.
right? Like, oh gosh, just the worst. It's just the
Mhm.
worst.
Even though they know what you're here to talk about, because there's
Right.
been small stops or talks along the way where you say, "Hey, just letting you know this or letting you know that. Okay, I'm gonna need to meet with you today at so and so," and then
We need
yeah.
to talk about,
Mhm.
or I would just even say we need to talk about this, or I would just say, hey, can you come see me in my office, please?
Yep.
And then you're in big poo poo.
Because like, oh Lord, I got called to the office.
But see, that's why I used to call people, like how you were saying, you never know if it's gonna be a good or bad. I used to call people to my office just randomly for different things. So it doesn't necessarily mean, it didn't mean like bad, So you never really know.
True,
So
true.
then I
But
could
everybody
hit you with
knew
it, or I
when
could
they
just
got
be
called
like,
to
hey,
my
great
office, they
job.
already knew it was good. And you only get called to my office for one reason, baby, and it ain't
Yes.
good.
Yes.
That's it. So unless it was
Exactly.
evaluation time, and they all knew it was evaluation time, because I would let them know. Otherwise, yeah, it wasn't a good one. So yeah, I think there's
Basically.
no wrong to
So
start.
if somebody's not like listening to you and hearing what you have to say, or is not receiving it well, then how do you counter that, Miss Nia?
Um, in the past, as far as relationships goes, I don't think I handled it well. Let me say that. In the past, if I was
Why?
trying to
Why do you say
communicate,
that?
because if I was trying to communicate and I felt like the guy wasn't hearing me, at that point I'll just shut down. Like, okay, well, I'm done. Like, I'm not going to keep trying to explain myself because you're not listening to me anyways, which is
Right.
really was going to get us nowhere. And unfortunately, I haven't really dealt with any really good listeners. So that's been a problem. It's
That's
like
a guy thing.
they
I feel.
don't, yeah, no, they don't
Let me
listen.
stop bashing the
You
guys.
men don't
Y'all
listen.
don't listen, guys. Listen.
Like
Just
they
listen.
again, like really listen and stop thinking that we're telling you something that bothers us or that we don't like and it means to attack you, because that's not it. If a woman is telling you that something is bothering her or that she doesn't like it, it's because she wants you to correct it. And I don't even want to say correct.
Exactly.
She just wants you to move accordingly. Like acknowledge her feelings, acknowledge how she feels, and then don't do it again, move differently. Um, or if that's again something you feel like that you're going to keep doing and you don't wish to respect her feelings or acknowledge her feelings, then you need to let her know that as well so she
Yeah.
can move accordingly. Um, but that was in the past. I would just shut down, I would give up, I would let it go. Like, okay, obviously you're not
Would you
gonna
ever
stop.
come back to the conversation and like try to bring it up again
Not if
later
it's gonna
on?
keep going into arguments, because I'm not gonna waste my breath. I'm not gonna waste my oxygen. I'm not gonna keep going back and forth with you if you're not gonna
See, when
listen.
it's a person
So,
like that, then
mm-mm.
you know it's not gonna work because you're not even willing
Exactly,
to come to the table to hear what I have to say. That's a
exactly,
problem. That's a
exactly.
problem.
So that's what I've done in the past. Now as I'm dating moving forward, if I feel like I am communicating and the person is not, I'm not even gonna say not listening, because if the person's listening, if the person's not listening, then I'm gonna let it go like in the past. But if the person is listening and they're trying to understand what I'm saying but they're just not gonna get it, one key tip, and like this guy, he does this and I really like that he does this, it's like he's one of the first men that I met that has done this, is that he will basically tell me like, tell me what you heard. Like from what I just said, how did you perceive that? Because as he says,
Have you
women,
repeat?
women,
Have
yes,
you
you have to
repeat what
repeat
you said?
that. Yes.
Yeah, I mean what
And
he
at first
said.
I was
Yeah,
like, what?
yeah,
You act like I don't listen. But he's like, no,
that's a
because you
good one.
women, he's like, you women, I say one thing and y'all hear something different. So he has me do that. And now I'm taking that from him and I'm gonna start doing it too. It's like
Yeah,
asking, like, okay, so I know you're listening. What did you get out of that? Like, what
right.
did you get out of what I said? Just so that, this, he does it so he can make sure, like, I understood what he was saying.
Yes,
And
like repeat
I
back to
want to do
me
it the
what I
same
just
way.
said.
Yeah. Like, what did you get out of what I just said? Just because I want to make sure we're on the
But
same
can
page.
I just say, can I say though, that's all good and well, right? If
Uh
you're
huh.
if you're if you're listening, you'll be able to repeat, but are you
Mm-hmm.
understanding? Like, is it making
And
sense?
that's why I know. That's why I say don't. I don't say repeat back to me what you. I tell me what
Okay.
you got out of that. What did
Okay.
you get out of that? Because what you got out of it may not be
Yeah.
exactly what I said.
Yeah.
That's
I
like
need you to go a little deeper. Break that down. What
exactly a great
what are you
example.
getting from it?
A
Yeah.
great example of that is like, okay, people that go to church, right? You listen to the word. What I get out of the word may not be
It's
what you got
different.
out of the word, but we both
Yes.
heard the same sermon. You hear what I'm saying? So in communication, when you're talking to somebody, tell me what you got out of what I just said. And
Right.
then you may have gotten out of it exactly what I wanted you to get out of it. You just
Right.
didn't give it back to me the exact same way, and that's perfect. Or you
Right.
tell me that this is what you got
You're
out.
not just regurgitating.
Exactly. You're not just regurgitating it. So, or you could tell me something else. I'm like, okay, I see how you got that, but that's not exactly what I said. So let me go back and hit that key point because maybe I gave you too much fluff around it.
Yeah.
And this is definitely something I've learned, how to better communicate now that I'm teaching second grade students.
Yeah.
Because now it's like I often will say, okay, tell me what we just learned, and they give me something totally different, or they give me a part of it, but they missed the key details of what I was teaching. So now I had
Yeah.
to go back and reiterate it or say it in a different way because um, when we're listening, we're learning as well. And
Yeah.
everybody learns differently. We have
Yeah.
visual learners, kinesthetic learners, we have uh, audio learners. Everybody learns differently. So everybody's going to receive the information in a different manner. And you got to
100%.
acknowledge that.
And even upbringing is like a major factor. I love that you just said that people, receive things differently when it's said to
Mhm.
them, and upbringing plays a major factor because, how people are used to communicating, or here we are saying, have a conversation, have a discussion. There's some people don't even want to have a conversation, and it's too much. It's like it's too much. They can't express themselves,
Yep.
or they'll start like part of what I really appreciate about having the person repeat what has been said. It
Mm-hmm.
allows them to process it themselves, right?
Yep.
Also understand what it is that you're saying. But it gets tricky when the other person can't actually put into words, right?
Mm-hmm.
The frustration that whatever scenario is causing them. Like, if you're have you had the situation where somebody is really trying to tell you something, and to them it makes absolute sense, but to you still don't understand where the problem is. Like, okay, where
Yeah.
is the problem? Like, for
Yeah.
you it's like it's not even a big deal, or
Yeah.
it's not. I don't understand why
You
you're
have a
taking
different
this.
perspective on it. Yeah, you just like, I hear what you're saying, but
but
we and
but
my
this is
cousin just had a conversation like that. Well, it was funny because I was talking. I love serial killer, crazy stuff.
yeah,
That's my thing.
yeah, okay.
So I was talking like, yo, mailman don't creep you out, and she was like, no, why? I was like, well, I was outside, and the mailman, for whatever reason, I think he was like taking a package directly to the door of somebody's house.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, what if the mailman is like a crazy person and like he sees somebody he really like, right? So now he know where she live because he on her route. She's on his route, and like he's stalking her crazy. Like he gonna become a serial killer. I'm just wilding out, right?
You
Just
just
throwing
made a
stuff
whole
out there.
scenario in the
And my
story.
cousin
Oh,
like my cousin was like, okay, but doing that as a mailman, that should be like a federal crime, so he would go to jail. I said, but why would he be? You think he concerned about a federal crime if he a serial
if
killer?
he's a
So
serial killer,
she
he's
like,
already
but
beyond that.
she like, but that's a federal, like he's gonna get stopped in his tracks. I was like, but bro, he a serial killer. He don't care. So like in her mind, she like, but
She's
that's
stuck
a
on that
crime.
point. Right.
Like it's not even
Right.
gonna get to that point. In my mind, I'm like, but he already ready to kill people. It's
Right.
too late. Like
We're
he doesn't
past it. We're
care.
beyond
So
laws here.
we're having the same discussion about the same thing, but her end net point is like, he gonna go to jail. My end point
She
is like
stopped there.
how many people
Right.
he gonna kill first? He don't care. So I'm like, communication. Then she's
Yes.
dying laughing because then she's getting what I'm saying. And she's
Yes.
like, oh, you saying like he don't care about no damn
Right.
federal crime. I was like,
Right.
exactly. He's crazy.
This is a
So
perfect
good
example.
example.
Yeah, this is a perfect example. But imagine from a perspective of like intense emotion where someone feels really, really hurt, and the other person is like, I don't understand why you're feeling so hurt. This is not that serious. And
I've had that
almost like
happen.
dimming down,
Yes, your
or
feelings, your emotions.
diminishing your feelings, and making
Yes,
it where, oh,
yes,
okay, it's not even that serious. And that's definitely what you should not do.
do.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
people have feelings, and their feelings, be it understandable or ununderstand, something that you just can't relate to or comprehend, it doesn't make it any more real or any less real,
Yes.
right? You need to be able to take into account that these person's feelings are valid, and their emotions are valid. Through talking to them, hopefully one, you can see their perspective and grasp where they're coming from. But you have to get there, right? You can't just be like, I don't get it, I don't, and then not even try to put
Yeah.
yourself in that person's shoes. But then also that other person has to do the same and see why. Okay, it's not a big deal to this person because of XYZ, but at least they
Yep.
understand, in this scenario I feel this way, and so hopefully moving forward, this doesn't happen, this doesn't come up again. You know, like, communication is like such a huge factor, because not only is it, like we said, layers to it, in the sense of, um you have to know who you're talking to. Is this person even worth having a conversation with? Is this
Key.
person somebody that is meaningful to me? But it's also different layers, because it's like it brings into it like conflict resolution too. Like, are you a
Yes.
good conf- conflict
How do you handle
resolutioner?
conflict? Are you confrontational?
Are
And
you
even with
confrontational?
that saying confrontational, it doesn't necessarily mean, because I feel like confrontational comes with such a negative undertone, but it's not even about necessarily being negative about it. Like, can you address the issue head on? How do you feel
Right.
about addressing issues head on, and doing so in a manner that is going to
Be
have yield
productive.
results? Yeah, yield
Yeah.
results. Be productive.
Yeah.
Because that's the one reason why I say I'll just shut down. I'm not gonna keep talking to you. We're not getting anywhere. I'm getting
Yeah.
madder. You getting madder. The point of having a conversation or a discussion, especially in relationships, ideally is to come to a resolution where we both can end, like, leave this feeling satisfied with what we have decided on, and feel like we're in a place where we can continue to move forward. Ideally.
Okay, so I have another question for you on you saying that because, like, sometimes, even for myself, like, I may not understand fully like the same scenario I just gave
Mm-hmm.
as an explanation, right? So I'll ask a lot of questions, and I've learned that in my asking, it can come across as me trying to,
Maybe break it apart or
yes, yes,
diminish
yes,
it or dismiss
dissect
it.
it,
Yeah.
dissect it, and like I want to understand. Like, I'm the type of person I want to understand.
And I
So
think that that's key in that, though. That other person needs to also know you, to know that you're asking for understanding, not to downplay what they're saying, but to get a full understanding. Like, it
right,
takes.
but let me tell you because I was in a scenario, okay, with like years ago with an ex, right? So I would ask questions, and it became to the point
Mhm,
where that person like shut down, right?
mhm,
And I brought this up because I was in a situation like that where I'm asking questions because I genuinely want to understand and want to grasp what it is that you're saying. I'm not seeing, I'm in
mhm,
that space where I'm not seeing the issue, right? But then it becomes too much because you feel like you're needing to explain and you're needing to reword it this way and the other, right? And it's like,
mhm,
this is where patience comes into play because
mhm.
the other person, you can get frustrated because now you're having to rephrase it or restate it and explain yourself when you're trying to tell me, yo, I just don't like it, and now you're shutting down. But then when you shutting down, I feel like, wait, but I was trying to just understand where you're coming from, and it's like this space of like,
My
where do we
response to
go?
that is so my response to that is I have a couple of points as you were talking that I was thinking of. So
Thank
first,
you. Okay,
he is a
go
what?
for it. Because
He is
now
a
I
what?
know better. Now
That
I
guy
know
is a
better.
what, though? He's a what? He's an
What?
ex now.
He's in
So
it, right?
that means communication between y'all was never gonna work. That's just what it is. He was not communicating at the same level as you. That's why he's an ex now. Because I imagine that with your husband, because you have a husband now, that those
Yes.
questions that you're asking don't bother him because he understands that
No,
that's how you communicate.
he really
So
do.
see, and
Bless
that's
his
why that's
heart,
your husband. So
guys.
let's get into that, because a lot of times when we're dating, the reason why we keep running into a wall is because we're trying to communicate with somebody that does not communicate the same way we are. Maybe they're not at the same level of maturity as it relates to communication
You know
as
what
we
this
are.
man said to me? Which I got in that moment. I was like, "You right." In that
What'd he say?
moment, he said, "You don't need to understand. You just need to know."
Oh, yeah, no, that's not gonna work for me because I need to understand. I can't just know. If I was okay with just knowing, I wouldn't be asking these questions. See?
But there's a truth to that. When I went back and I was like, in that moment, I was like, "What are you talking about? I just need to
Mm,
know." Like, we're having a conversation because I you guys know I like to have conversations. I like to understand. I feed
mhm.
off of debates, like healthy
Yeah,
debates, right?
yeah.
I feed off of it and I enjoy it. I know how to, stop, and when it's detrimental to me, I get that part. But when he stated that, in that moment I was pissed, I was upset,
Yeah.
and but it made sense also because it's like, yeah, there are gonna be moments where I'm not gonna grasp it. You could sit there and explain yourself till you're blue in the face, but maybe right now in this moment, I'm not gonna understand. I do
Mhm.
really just need to know that this is bothering the other
Mhm.
person, and I need to take it for what it is and say, okay, how do we move forward? I'm sorry, apologize if I need to apologize, and say, you know what, I'm gonna think about what you're saying
True, true.
and try
That
to
is true.
process it, and maybe I can come back at a later time.
That is true
I
too.
understood that in that moment. It wasn't off, it wasn't on some shutting me down, like, go
Yeah.
about your business, little girl, and it was more of like trying to tell me, like, okay, I've tried to explain to you where I'm coming from, and if it doesn't resonate with you ever, it may not, but just understand that
And
this is
that being
how I feel.
yes, and that and
Right.
saying that part right there is key too. That because again, going back to what you said before, we have different backgrounds, different upbringings. Some stuff we
Yes.
just won't be able to understand. But saying that, actually saying that to the person, like if a
It makes a
person is asking,
difference.
yeah, they're asking you a lot of questions because they want to understand better, and you've explained it every way that you can. And I've said that to my students, especially because
Right.
that's where this comes up. Okay, baby, listen, I don't know no other way to explain this to you. I really
Right.
don't. Um, so maybe we could just leave it alone for right now, and we can
Right.
come back to it maybe later on. But this is
Right.
what I need you to know right now. This
Right.
is just what I need you to know, and it might come to that person later, like click. Oh, I
Right.
get it because maybe they just haven't had that experience to understand what you're saying. But I
Right.
also do
Right.
want to keep in mind though, if a person is getting frustrated at you because you're asking questions for understanding and they can't verbalize what I just said to you to say, hey, I don't know no other way to do it, that's still like not that okay. Like the
Right.
fact that they like just like shut down instead of
Right.
explaining to you, then hey, listen,
Right.
like instead of being able to properly communicate, you may not understand now, and that's okay. And I don't know any other way to say it. I just wanted you to know it, to keep that in your mind, and we can still move forward versus you don't need to understand it. You just need to know. See how that can be
Right.
perceived in a negative manner versus me saying, okay, I understand you don't get it right now. And I don't know what else to say to you, but
Yes.
I
So
just
I
want you to
want
know
to be
it's out
clear.
there.
Yeah, I want to be clear. Like, I inferred it that way in my mind, because I know the type of person that he was, and how
Mhm.
he spoke, and it took me a while to get there. But you're
Mhm.
absolutely right. It's not what you say, it's how you say
How
it,
you say
right?
it.
It's how you say it. Your tone, your even your posture, right?
Mhm.
Your body language says a lot. If I'm coming at you a certain way, and I'm moving my head and I'm shaking my hands,
Mhm.
you're doing a lot, okay?
Oh
You're
yeah.
aggressive right now. I don't know if you're gonna hit me, or you're gonna what you might do. But if I am calm and I am reserved and I'm in control of my tone and my movements, and you know, I I'm not in your face, then that says
Yeah.
something too, right? So I want to be clear, because you are 100% right. I processed it in my mind because I knew who I was talking
Yep.
to, and the conversation that we were having, and I got that that's what he meant by it. But he didn't say it that way. So any other
Yep.
person would have taken it in a combative, like, what you
Yep.
mean, on a you're shutting me down type thing. And you're right. That is not the healthiest way to go about something.
Mhm.
So to my point, patience, right? Obviously, at the end of the day, you're trying to get to a common goal, hopefully, and the common
Mhm.
goal is for you guys to be able to find some sort of resolution to the situation. And when we say communication, I know we're now we've been talking about, like, where there's a conflict, but sometimes communicating just to say, hey, um oh my gosh, I can't think of an exact example right now, but I know this happens
I
often.
I one thing that I've learned, and I got this from my past relationship, is that I like to hear what you like versus what you don't like. And I
Mm.
feel like when we talk about communication, a lot of times everybody thinks negative all the time.
Right,
But
right.
that's why, as I'm
Yes.
dating moving forward, I have expressed that, hey, listen, when you are communicating with me or you are telling me something, instead of telling me what you don't like, I would receive it better if you tell me what you do like.
Yeah.
And I also communicate often what I like, what I do
Yeah.
see, in the guy that I'm
Ahead of
dating
time.
that I
So
like about him.
you
Yeah,
should
hey,
already
you do
know.
this, you do this. I really like when you do that. Or is this,
Yes, complimenting the good.
this is something that I like for you to continue to do because you do it now and I like it. So compliment it good, bringing up the good things, so that your relationship is more focused on positive things than negative things
Instead
because
of negative. Yeah.
um, people are more likely, I'm a psych major also, are more likely to repeat behaviors that are praised than behaviors that are negative. So if you are constantly praising a behavior or you're praising something you like, they're more likely to keep doing that because they know that you like it. We are
Yeah.
naturally relational beings. So we're going to do what is going to be pleasing.
All right,
If
psych
the person
major,
likes
come
you,
through.
I do what I can.
Yeah, for sure. But like just even like in saying like, oh, you know, sometimes I do this with my mom. She'll ask me a question and I'm moving so fast and I'll respond and I'll have like a face, like I'll respond in very fast
Mhm.
and then now and I'll have maybe like a grimace or not a grimace, but maybe I don't look as happy when I'm responding. And that's because I'm moving too fast and I'm thinking about something else
Oh,
and
yeah.
she takes it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Now, later on, hours later, she'll come and be like, I really didn't like how you responded to me, when I was asking you earlier about taking out the trash, and you just like, yeah,
Yep.
I'll take it out when I'm going out, whatever it is.
Mhm.
And I'll be like, but what? I just said that I was gonna take it out, and I took it out.
If you
What do
ain't
you
paying no
mean?
attention to what you got going on
I
as
did
you're responding.
right. I'm not paying attention to my facial. I'm not
Mhm.
being aware of my facial expressions, and man, that's a huge thing that I used to
Oh,
like
yes.
be people would get on me when I was growing up, and it would be just like I'm very expressive. I talk
Mhm.
with my hands.
Me too.
And when I'm passionate about a conversation or a subject matter, I get like animated, or
Oh,
if
yes.
I'm in my mind thinking about something else and you stop me and I'm still thinking about whatever it is, if it happens to be a bad thing, I'm looking at you like, wait, what? And you might be
I'm a
like, why are you
very
looking at me like
passionate
that?
speaker. That's what I call it. Very passionate speaker. I
Yes.
can talk. Okay. I'm a talker. I'm good with my words. That was one thing that my ex would say. He would say, you're good with words. I'm not good with words like that. You can basically drive somebody into the right direction because I'll say some points and I'll be hitting those points so good. It's
Right.
like,
Right.
okay, okay, okay,
Okay, we
okay.
got
So
it.
dang, chill, girl, you got it.
Right.
So that is what I know that about me too. I'm a very passionate speaker.
Yeah, so it's like, be mindful of those things too, but to a
Mm-hmm.
certain degree, the people that know you will understand that, oh, that's just Steph. Like, don't
Mm-hmm.
pay her no mind, and it's okay there. It's easier to brush that off. But in a work setting, it's an effort. Like, I constantly have to be on guard because I need to be able to express myself or respond and not offend the other person unnecessarily or unbeknownst to me because I'm just moving too fast or not thinking about something, and
Yeah.
I'm in my own head thinking about whatever, and I look up and I'm looking at you crazy, but it's not towards you specifically.
Yeah.
It can get real messy. But to that point, let's get into some classy, wretched, or real, because we could go on this for forever
We can
before
get
we
going.
get on to classy, wretched, or real. I always go first, so you're going first, Miss Thing.
I am ready. So I have my story today involves one of my friends, and I felt it was perfect since we talked about friendships last week. So I had a
Oh,
friend, and she had a adult account. I'm gonna say an adult account, and she
an
also would
adult
talk
account.
like a OnlyFans.
Oh, I like
And
OnlyFans. Okay.
yeah, she had an OnlyFans, but she also would talk about her professional life.
Okay.
um
On there?
on her no on her Instagram. So she
Okay.
would talk about her OnlyFans, and she would also talk about her professional side, like her career as well,
Okay.
all on her Instagram. And
Okay.
I see it, it's fine. And then
That's
it
kind of
started
messy,
kind of,
but okay.
well, that's the thing. It was kind of bothering me because I'm like, damn, she a dope ass person. She's cool. She's good at what she's doing. She seems to love what she's doing. She's also enjoying her OnlyFans. I feel like as a friend, I should tell her she should either stop talking about her OnlyFans or stop talking about her career. One or the other. Because I don't feel like it's a good mix because of the field that she worked in. That if somebody from that field found out that she was doing OnlyFans, it could cause her a problem in her career. So,
Okay.
me looking at it that way, part of me was like, do I say something to her? How do I say something to her? How do I
Right.
communicate these concerns and not offend her
Yeah.
or and not come off that I'm coming from like a hater place or whatever? Because we're good friends, but we're not like best friends or anything like that. Like we haven't kicked it a bunch of times. We're like, I just known her for a while and we cool and we could chop it up, when I see her. So I'm like, how do I say this to her without this woman feeling like, damn, bitch, you don't even know me like that, or don't judge me, or
Right.
you don't
Right.
know about you don't know my life. I didn't ask for your opinion. I didn't ask for your advice.
Right.
But I was like, it kept bothering me because I'm like, you know what? If I was doing something and somebody had concerns, I would want them to tell me. So for me, for communicating, it's like, what would I want the person to do for me? If I was in that situation and somebody could have saw something bad coming and didn't warn me, or at least put it on my radar that this could go left, just the FYI, this could go left, I would be upset. So because of that, I just called her up one day. It was out the blue. This was an out the blue type thing. I like text her like, "Hey girl, you busy right now? Can I call you?" "Yeah, girl, call me up. Hit me up." I just called her up. I was like, "Hey, I see you do your thing. I'm never gonna knock your hustle. I ain't never gonna stop your bag. But I just think that maybe you should either make like a separate account for that
Yeah.
or make a separate account for the other thing or stop talking about the other thing, like stop talking about your day job. Just because I feel like, you never know who is on your account,
Watching.
who's
See,
watching.
you're
And I don't
courageous
want
because
to get
I
back
wouldn't have
to you.
done it.
You wouldn't? I can't. I'm sorry. I can't.
I wouldn't
I
have
just
done
feel
it.
like this is the
Unless
energy
you're my
and how I
best
manifest
friend, you're
this
my
energy.
yeah.
I can't. If I care, I'm gonna say something. If I don't give a fuck about you, I don't care about you.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna let you slide. That's your problem, sis. So yeah, and she ended up receiving it well. She received it so
Oh,
well. She was like,
good.
you know what? Thank you so much for calling me, Nia. Like it's something I kind of was thinking about myself, but I wasn't
Oh,
really sure.
good. Ah,
She was like, so
whew.
yeah, no, she was like, thank you, girl. I appreciate you. You be looking out. Like, thank you. Cause I'm like, yo, this is just my perspective. And I'm pretty sure it was other people that's been watching and seeing like, I
Yeah,
don't think you
maybe
should
it
be
wasn't even
posting
the
that.
first time that she heard it.
Maybe not. So yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like that was a real moment. That was just keeping
Because
it
when
real,
you
having
started
an
saying
uncomfortable
that,
conversation.
yeah, that's definitely a real moment. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's real. Cuz when you started saying that, I was like, "Ooh, she got both of them on there like at the same time she's talking
Like
about
you'll be watching her
both of
story
them."
and it'll be work stuff, like her at work, and
And
then
then
check my OnlyFans, bow,
hey,
hey, hey. And I'm like,
hey.
okay, hey, yeah, but wait. This is just
So the reason why I said I wouldn't have even bothered because you're saying she's just like somebody that you're cool with, whatever. Because I'm just like live and let live. Somebody close to her circle hopefully will get there to her and
but in my
and
heart,
and
I'm
put it
like,
out there
everybody ain't got good friends like me.
and give and no, you're a good friend. But and I'm thinking hopefully somebody in a closer in her circle because you know
Yeah,
what it could have
yeah.
backfired and then she could have been like who is
Okay,
you?
well, thank you for calling, but I didn't ask you, so I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
Right.
I'm
Good
just like,
day.
good for you, sis. Good for you. Good. I wish you well, sis. Don't worry, you won't have to hear nothing else from me.
But you know what you did? You probably approached her in such a way, in a well
Yeah,
way, where
it's the approach from
it's the
a place of
approach.
love, and that's why I told her. I said, "Listen, I am coming to you from a place of love. Like I
Not
do not
everybody
want
takes
to
it that way, even
offend
when you're coming from a place of
you."
love.
Yeah,
But
and I try.
it's not what you say, it's how you
I
say
say
it.
true, true, true. So that's my story. That was my real moment. What you got? What you got for classy ratchet or real today?
All right. Okay. So I had like a couple of stories, girl. Like I've had conflicts, misunderstandings. That scenario that I mentioned earlier with my ex, that's definitely one of them where, I would just have
Mhm.
something to say and it would just be an issue all the time. But I'm going to switch it up a little bit since you talked about a personal relationship or, somebody you knew directly.
Mhm.
I'm going to switch it up to a work situation, right? I worked, this is a previous employer. So, I had a situation with somebody that I considered a friend. Okay. This is
Mhm.
somebody that I was cool with, cool enough where we had an office relationship, but we also had outside of the office relationship, and
Mhm.
they were cool too. And so we go out. She gonna know, like, Steph, why you put my business out? But
We
anyways,
ain't saying no names. They
um,
be all right. They be all right.
exactly. We ain't saying names.
They
It's
can
fine.
call and communicate their concern. 'Cause my
Exactly.
friend might listen too. I don't know if she be listening or not, but if she do, I love you,
Hey,
girl.
friend. It's all love. Hey,
It's
friend.
all love. It's
And
all love.
even my we've since
It's all good.
fixed it up. But anyways, so at one point, we would have we had a work relationship, and then it went outside of work relationship, and we would hang out and stuff. And one night we're having a good time, and it was like a celebration. We went out to eat, and people were just like, doing their thing, taking photos, while during dinner, and it was just becoming a lot. And it's one thing when you're having you're there with people, and it's a good vibe and you're enjoying
Yeah.
yourselves, but some of the vibe was just not the same. People were on different vibes.
Ooh.
Yeah, and they were doing a whole lot. And one of my friends mentioned said something to me, and I guess that other person heard it. That work friend heard it, and it was like her event. And so later on, so I'm thinking nothing of it. It was just like a little mention, like, oh my gosh, these photos. And then you're putting other people you don't know into their in your stories, and you're doing a whole lot in your stories,
Mm.
whatever. So that person was kind of like, that's a lot, but it wasn't even like a mention where it was like major. So she briefly mentioned it to me, and I was like, yeah, I agree, but whatever. And we moved on past it. We had a good night, as far as I know. Prior to that, we had pre-gamed at the house, and then we went to dinner, and that
Yeah.
happened, and then we went back to my house, right? So, we get to my house, and this work friend is telling me something about a guy that she was like talking to, but I couldn't really like understand. She's in the bathroom. She's finishing up, and she says something through the door, like, oh my god, something something something. And I'm like, girl, can't nobody hear you, come out here and tell me, right?
Mhm.
Or whatever. I said maybe I said it in a way, I forget how I said it, but it obviously was in a way that she took offense to. So
Yeah.
when she takes offense to this, me saying, girl, ain't nobody, can't nobody hear you, come out, wait
Mhm.
until you get out here to say whatever you're saying. Oh, they come outside, they come out the bathroom, and she's pissed,
And you
and
like,
she goes
"What?"
off. Right, and she goes off on me, and she's like highly upset. And I was trying to understand like where it went from
What
0
happened?
to 100, and I couldn't understand. But the level of anger, she was so upset that she's like, you're treating me, and this is my event, and you're acting like shit all night. You've been acting like you're hating, and this is supposed to be a great, mind you, I opened up my house to the pregame, right? Prior to
Yeah.
that, I was showing her love, you know what I'm saying, like shouting out her birthday, bought gifts, whatever, okay,
So you like,
decorated,
"Wait,
all
wait,
these
wait, wait. When
things.
we get here?"
Right. So, and then we did the whole dinner, came back to the house. So I felt like I was doing my part. Um and so needless to say, she was very upset. So I was so taken aback by it. And normally, like, the Bronx in me kicked in, and I was just like, wait a minute. Hold up.
I'm confused. What happened?
Right. I'm confused as to why you're getting so aggressive in my face in my own house. Calm the hell down. So,
Mhm.
I then tell her she needs to, in not so nice words, calm the fuck down and get the hell up out of my house if she
Ooh.
feels so strongly about that. And so my best friend was at the house too, and then she was like, she comes out of the room because she heard the whole thing, and she's like, "What just happened? What the heck just happened?" And we're talking about it, and we're trying to figure out, like, where did that just come from, right? So, needless to say, we had an altercation at the house, and this is again a work friend, a work. I have a work relationship with this person, and I also had a personal friendly
Mhm.
relationship with this person. So it complicates things for work,
Yeah.
right? Hello. So the next day, I kind of was waiting to kind of see what the heck was gonna happen. The person and the girl ended up calling and kind of apologizing to say, hey, I just felt like I wasn't being supported, and she brought up the whole picture thing and maybe a
Ah.
comment that I had said, or and that my friend had said, and she didn't like, and then me stating, "Oh, I can't hear you, come out the bathroom." I guess that set her off or something, and she really
Yeah.
didn't like it. And I'm like, that's cool, but that did not warrant you going off and
Yeah.
like trying to come at me basically like so disrespectfully in my own house. Like, why would you do
Yeah.
that?
When you could have
There's a place
could
and
have came
time, there's
out
a
and communicated
way.
in a different way as well.
Exactly, there's a way,
Okay.
because she really like took that and like blew it up in my perspective, right?
Yeah.
And I wasn't in the mental space to hear any of it. And thank God I was what's the word I can use? Uh Smart enough to say, let's get out my house because you're being real disrespectful. I'm not in a sober mind to talk to you in a way that I really need to talk to you, because right
Yeah.
now I'm about to go off on you, so you need to go. And thank God I said that, because again, the work relationship, and we still worked together, and that could have been real tricky with then going back to the office and
Very
then things,
easily.
because I literally, like, when she started going off and came out that bathroom, like, yo, I'm sick and tired of you saying, oh, of you talking to me this way, and all night you've
You're like,
been da 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 da
what?
da.
Who
And she's like
who you
going
talking
off,
to?
and I'm just like, what? Wait, what the? Who are you talking to? And what are you talking about? And you know what? Better yet, I'm not sober
Don't worry
to
about
to have this conversation. Just go ahead and get out. It could have been tricky. It could have
it.
been
It could
tricky.
have very easily.
Yeah. So we kind of talked about it that next day. She apologized. She understood that she could have came at that situation a little bit differently. But also
Absolutely.
in that conversation, I was glad that we had it, because in that conversation I came to the realization that she's looking for a friend that I can't be, right?
Yeah.
Like, she was looking for somebody who was just going to, she brought on other things that didn't even relate to that. So it was more to it. It was more
It
to it.
was. It
So we were
was.
able to
Usually when
kind of
somebody
like have a
explodes, it's been
conversation. Yeah,
building.
because people will do that. They will compound, right?
Yep.
People will sit on certain things and let things fester, and then it manifests itself in a way that's so weird. Like, point of the matter is, don't sit on anything when you're having issues with somebody.
Yep.
Try to find the right time, but don't let it sit and fester and accumulate, and then have it manifest itself in a real, like, ridiculous way, when it could have been the whole thing could have been avoided, and it wouldn't have been
True.
as bad of a confrontation, right, that we had.
Yep.
um and also, keep your business friends just work friends.
Keep
Okay.
work work.
Work, unless y'all a partner and it's something that you like, we
Yeah,
own.
that's different.
That's different. That's different. I will say that that is absolutely different. But like a working relationship where you work and you go to
Hmm.
clock in with somebody, I don't know. I don't know, bro.
Keep it
Just keep it to
separate.
the happy hours and that's it. Like, cause they're
That's
forever gonna
it.
be your work friends. This is
Nah,
still
for real,
work.
for real. I don't have like a lot of work friends like that. I really don't.
Yeah, and they're not bad. Work friends are not bad. I know some cool people that I've worked with that I would not mind having work outside of work relationships with because they're just cool, bomb
Hmm.
people, okay? And I fucks with them. That's all good. But then there are some people that you just gotta gauge it, I guess. Just be mindful that
Yeah,
there's
be
always that
mindful.
possibility. Or even better, just do it with people, like just know that you're gonna hang out with people that aren't in the same department or something that
Or that.
y'all just, yeah, that would be the safest. So that's my that was real ratchet because, yeah, and very real because I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it could have definitely gone left had that person tried me,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
tried me again. Oh, I really should have talked about the second try, but we'll leave that for another story.
Yeah. That's
Maybe when we
clearly
talk
need
about
to be left
like
alone.
office office stuff, I'll bring that
People not
story
knowing
up
how to
because that was real
communicate.
crazy. Huh?
So yeah, people not knowing how to communicate in the job is
Yeah, people not knowing how to express themselves and how to differentiate, you know, or being able
work
to be
and
mature enough.
personal. You work and personal because that's listen, yeah. Relationships at work, dealing with people at work, and the fact we always call it Q-tip, quit taking it personal. Because people think
Oh,
you
I
say
like
something and
that.
they take it directly
Q-tip.
to the heart and it ain't got nothing to do with you directly. It's about the job. Yeah.
Yes.
We can talk about that
Yes.
later.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, I know we're like running over the time here,
We
but
are.
we're just gonna wrap. We're
I'm gonna wrap it. We're gonna bring it in. We're gonna bring it in, y'all.
gonna
It's been
bring
a great
it.
discussion.
Right, right, right. Just, some key pointers. Just keep calm, maintain control of the conversation, okay? Because you don't want to just go off and just talk, start
Hmm.
yelling, because then obviously that's not going to be productive for anybody, right? Make sure you're an active listener, okay? That you're listening
For
and not
understanding.
listening to respond, but listening to really understand what the other
Mhm.
person is trying to say to you, okay? Take that into account. What else did we say?
Um, have them not repeat back, but tell you what they got out of it. I think that's really important. If
Yes, that was a good
you're
point.
communicating, have them tell you what they got out of that or what they understood from what you were saying, just to see where they're going with it. Okay.
Exactly.
And be I think one point that we didn't really touch on specifically, but I want to leave it as a pointer is to be empathetic, be understanding.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we're communicating from both ends as the speaker and the listener, we don't take a step back to realize that the world does not revolve around us. People don't view
Hello.
things the way that we view them. So approach any discussion, conversation, talk, whatever you want to call it, from a place of humbleness, kind of, where it's just like, okay, I want to hear what this person has to say so that I can better learn them and understand them,
Yes.
especially in a relationship. If this is something that you want to go ideally to marriage, or if you are already married, if you want to maintain your marriage, then you need to come from this from a place of being humble and accepting that I don't know everything. I don't
Hello.
know how you feel and
Exactly.
what you're thinking, but I want to understand how you feel and what you're thinking. And I want to continue this walk with you by, if it's a change that needs to be made, making that change or whatever it may be, come with an open heart and an open mind to the talk. So I think that's
Exactly. Body language. Don't be sitting there, with your hands crossed, just ready,
important.
looking like
Mhm.
you're not even open to a real conversation
Yep.
trying to understand the other person. Like, make sure that you watch your body language and your facial expressions and the rolling of
Mhm.
the eyes, cause baby, you roll your eyes on me. Ooh, ooh.
That's a no no.
That's not gonna
That's a
that's
no
not gonna
no.
go well. That's not gonna go well. I had written down a few other pointers that we didn't really get to because my story was so long and we just kind of went
We
on.
might have to do a part 2. We might have to do a part
But
2. And then a
yeah,
part
exactly.
2,
But
if you guys
I'll
are having scenarios, if there's any scenarios out there that you're not sure how you should have responded or what you could have done differently, y'all can send them to the GrownupIsh Podcast Instagram
suggestions.
DM
Yes, please.
and tell us, if there's something you need advice on how to better communicate or what went wrong. Maybe something happened and you're like, okay, what went wrong here? What did I say wrong? How could we fix it? And we can put that into like a part 2 on communication.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because I did have some really good pointers, like, maybe writing things down. Make sure you write them so that you have your thoughts together and you take the time.
Sometimes it's better to write. I know, I don't know if this couple does it, but I've heard it somewhere. I don't know if my friends do it or if I just heard it somewhere. But they have like they leave notes for each other. That's one thing. But I also heard of like people do this a lot with like kids, but I think this will be healthy with relationships as well. That if there's something bothering you, write it out and leave it for your partner to read it, and maybe they can read it and process it, and then you guys can have that discussion. Because maybe sometimes saying things, maybe you're one of those people who you feel like you don't necessarily always have the words, or you don't want to say it
In that
wrong,
moment.
or write it
Yeah.
out. Yes, in that moment, write it down and let your partner read it, and then you guys can come back and talk about it. And even then, maybe if you write it and you feel like you might not have said it right, you guys can still process it together. Sometimes
Exactly.
communication doesn't always have to be verbal, it can be written. So,
Yeah. Because we did say don't text, but that's because y'all be texting, y'all be going off on a tangent, short and sweet, brief, straight to the point.
yes,
and
we talking
and
about
you know be
writing, not
direct.
text.
Well, we're talking about writing, and you're gonna come back and talk about it. Okay,
Yes.
so the other person needs to know that, hey, I'm writing this down, but we're gonna talk about it. That's different
Mm-hmm.
than just shooting off crazy, paragraph long
Yeah.
text messages complaining about something, and the other person is not hearing your tone and not understanding where you're coming from and
Yep.
all of that. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up, guys. Go ahead, Nia, drop your handles.
All right. So you guys go ahead, follow me at Nia, that's NIA_Audrey on all social media. You can find me that way. So yeah, I'm gonna just throw that out there.
Yes. And, obviously just hit up the GrownupIsh Podcast on IG, the GrownupIsh on Twitter, the GrownupIsh Pod is the website. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. We really want to get to hear you guys and your feedback on, these conversations that we've been having. So write us, ask questions if you have suggestions on
Absolutely.
topics, like Nia said, that you would like to hear from us, and have us bring those up. We would love to hear. And yeah, so that's it, guys. We did another one. We did a
Yes,
thing.
indeed.
And we will see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.